Are you gonna listen to the move?
I've been out the loop since '09.
Yeah, I'll be back to get at that, though.
Check this. I'm at the motherfucking house last night. Guess what the fuck I see?
What you see?
Shamika, what's up?
Fuck you think you fucking with? It's Maxwell, bitch!
Fuck you in them shoes.
Bitch, I'm about to stomp you with these shoes.
I thought I told you to get a jump to Crazy D.
I did give it to Crazy D. You know D, you must have seen money in that. You know he used to produce those.
Are you gonna listen to the move?
I've been out the loop since '09.
Yeah, I'll be back to get at that, though.
Check this. I'm at the motherfucking house last night. Guess what the
Here's the thing about Germany, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe. Community, heart,
What's going on, people? How you feeling today? This is another episode of #TFRPodcastLive presents Observations by Crazy D with my special guest, Tanya M. Congress. What's going on with you, Tanya?
Well, it's becoming more and more interesting every day as we continue in our dialogues of things that are happening in the world. And every day I see some things. Every day I think I've seen it all. I wake up to the next day and see some more. So We're going to have another information-packed show for you today. What's on your mind today?
Nothing but technology and how technology is seeming to fail many times, right? Like opening up the intro and looking at the phone lines and seeing that there's some technical difficulty with the phone lines, but we're going to find out if the phone lines are operational in a second by checking ourselves, But other than that, it's another great day to be alive, As
it is.
Get ready to get started here as I'm slowing the population because, I had to deal with that tomfoolery, so to speak, right? So let's see where we are here. What am I looking at here? Okay, I can't believe I'm actually on the main page. That's interesting. Okay, let me go over to pages. All right, people. So welcome to, again, #TFRPodcastLive presents Observations by Crazy D. I'm your host. Co-host is my sister Tanya. We're getting started as we go ahead and populate this out. Go ahead.
Before we get into our subject matters today, I just want to talk about, I'm very much into health things. And so there's something that you and Tracy suggested that I hit to add to my medicinal cabinet. And so I got this oregano oil. And this oregano oil is in this cup of tea that I have right here. I just put 2 drops because the instructions said 1 to 3 drops. I said, well, let me go to the middle ground. Let me go with 2 because I'm one that overdoses on things because I consider, since I'm a larger girl, I need a little more of whatever in order to make it potent enough to do what it needs to do. So I said, well, I'm going to play this one safe and I'm going to do this with 2 drops. So they say in the instructions, it says dilute with olive oil if you're going to take it, plain, or mix with fruit juice or tea or something like that. So I have tea. So I put 2 drops of this oregano oil in my tea. And I started up really, really good. All right. And I took the first swig and my tongue and my lips were burning.
Yeah. You're getting the full effect of it now, baby.
I said, I think they downplayed this. That's like the time that I had never had any wasabi on my food, and I thought it was what is that other green? Avocado. I thought it was avocado or something. You said, go on and try it. It's really good. He's very convincing, y'all. So he said, go on and try it. It's very good. It's real good. You say, make sure.
No, but I did tell you though, or was I setting you up? Was I setting you up, or did I tell you?
Yes.
Did I tell you when we brought home the what is that sushi? The sushi wrap from Whole Foods. Did we tell you wow? How long ago was that? But anyway, look, thinking of time, how time is moving. But didn't we say that it was hot? And did you think you were a key woman? I thought you were saying you were a key woman. I don't take that
part of it.
I take Tabasco and I take Tabasco and yeah, I did say put a little, and you went on ahead and
like no, you didn't. You tricked me that time. But it sounds like me. It sounds like it could have been a challenge because it was something hot. It sounds like it could have been that because I did eat a lot of hot stuff. But when I put that in my mouth, I was not prepared to feel like my whole brain was gonna come floating out of my head. My whole nasal passage, if there was anything going on in my sinuses, it was over with that day with that wasabi. And my head was just, everything was clear from the sinus to whatever. If it was any dysfunctional stuff going on in my head, in the upper part of my head, it got chased out.
Wasabi, like when you first tasted, I remember we went to what was that place up there? Is it still up there on Chagrin called Hunan's? Is that still up there?
Oh,
the Japanese steakhouse, right?
I believe it is.
Okay, so we went up there, right? And it was for a birthday celebration for my wife's niece, right? And we went up there, right? So there was this green stuff on the plate, right? Next to the chicken that I had ordered, right? And so I made the mistake of grabbing, and when I cut the chicken up, I made a mistake of grabbing some of the wasabi. I didn't mean to, but some of the wasabi had stuck on a piece of the chicken. And I put that in my mouth, and what it does is it feels like it's inflaming your whole olfactory and your whole nostril thing, and it's like you get like I got concerned. I was like, oh my, it was like, and it's burning, and it's like, and just before I could get to the water, it subsides, right? It's just like that. It hits you, and then it disappears. For those who want to taste it, want to taste wasabi on a lesser level, get some wasabi chickpeas. They come in a pack and they have wasabi on them, and you'll be able to feel what it feels like. But do not, by any means, do not take, because they'll squirt the wasabi out, and it'll be in about maybe that tall, about that wide. Do not, by any mistake or by any means, take half of that and try to eat that. You will be on fire. You will be on fire. So we want to say that.
If you don't mind, real quick, tell the people what the oregano oil does.
Oh, well, oregano oil is good with the respiratory system. If you don't know, it's also good for your tongue and your lips, because it's going to take all the mucus from out your lips, from out your tongue, from out your throat, and it's going to pass down, and it's going to go into your stomach and pass out upper intestines, lower intestines, and then out, instead of the mucus building up in your throat. which could go down into your lungs. And in this case, we don't want that happening. And again, we're not doctors, but we're giving you this information, right? So that you will know this, right? So before we go any further, of course, these shows, TFR Podcast Live OB, that's hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB, is brought to you by, back in Cleveland, hard copy DVD, or you can go to Lordlandfilms. Lordlandfilms, you see it right here, down here at the bottom, Lordlandfilms.com, and you can stream it on demand. Just click, takes you to demand. For $2.99, you can watch one of the most hilarious, one of the most drama-filled films coming from out of Cleveland, Ohio, featuring hip-hop artists, not in a stereotypical film. All right, people, so we will say that first, because we don't have to play buffoonery or stereotypes to get laughs or drama. That's one thing, right? Second, make sure that you smash the like button and the follow button and the share button so people know that we are on at the Film Review Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society page on FB, right? We're also on, we're simulcasting on Vimeo at the Film Review. Also on YouTube at the Film Review Life channel. Make sure that you subscribe, click the bell so that you know when we come on, notifications. And we're also on Periscope, right? Periscope at TFR Podcast Live. And last but not least, as you see in the lower third, right? Make sure you go over to our Cash App and you smash that Cash App with quite a few dollars. You want to be a sponsor, you let us know. We can work that out. $ TFR Podcast Live. $ TFR Podcast Live. Okay, people. Let's get this engine revved up. Okay, people. So let's start with something lighter before we get to the subject. What is the subject of today's show? What is the subject of today's show? The subject of today's show is how censorship affects citizens in a society. How censorship affects citizens in a society, right? So, but first, we're going to start out light before we get to the heavy, right? So here we go, right? So the first meme that we start with for today is, your money comes back to you, but your time doesn't. Your money comes back to you, but your time does not return. So when you take time to do something and people may not value your time as much as you value the time in doing it, putting time into them as well as putting time into what you're doing to build a brand, so to speak. When there's people who have no 213-943-3358. When there's people who have no skin in the game, it's easy for them to just go on ahead and dump on what you're doing and take away what you're doing as if it doesn't matter, right? So what you got to say to that before we go on further?
Well, we've often heard growing up and in times past in different arenas that time is money. Money is time. And your time, like you were just saying, it's nothing like investing your time into a project or something like that. And you're putting, I don't know if people are not cognizant of the passion that goes into that and the heart that goes into making consideration of investing your time into a situation. But people are very frivolous with other people's time. Like they'll say, as long as money is involved and they think that it's going to be a quick return, they are all on board. Everybody want to be on board. Oh, let me get a piece. Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. And so it may be something like you're going into something with somebody and you take the lead because you might be the obvious person to take the lead in this project or whatnot. And everybody's on board because the lead person often has the most investment. They have a lot of experience in it. And they often are going to, because they have the heart and the integrity to finish what they start, everybody knows that this person is going to be all in for this situation. But the minute, with any project, it may be some snags, maybe some monkey wrenches in the game. So you have to work out the kinks, or so to speak. And so some people, the people who invest the least time and the least effort are the most impatient with the return. You get ROI. It's called return on investment. If you haven't invested anything, but you're going to get a return, I think you should just be quiet and it's a gift for you because you're sitting there, you're not investing anything and you're going to get a return on something, on an investment. All you did was open your mouth and maybe contributed an idea or a suggestion, but you're going to get a return. Just be quiet and be patient. You're not investing all of the time and the ingenuity that goes in to this particular thing. And so this is a very good meme, and it's something to consider no matter what side of the coin you're on. I know our listeners are diverse, but everything that we put up here, you can examine yourself as to what side you're on. If you're a time waster for people, if you waste your own time, odds are you're going to reflect what it is that you've invested or not. Odds are you're going to reflect, your life is going to reflect what you invest. And so when you waste other people's time, they're not with that, and you can't blame them.
That's so true, right? The phone lines are open. We check the phone lines. 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. Now, here's another interesting meme. And it reads like this. This is, I believe it's kind of optimistic if I remember, right? There's never been anything like what's going on now, and most don't see that this is an end game, but who's going to be ended by the game. Let's read it again. This isn't optimistic. This is a question. This is a real in-depth question here. There's never been anything like what's going on now, and what most don't see that this is an end game, but who's going to be ended by the game, right? Which gets us to our first video presentation of the night. You know, everyone is on edge and everyone's pretty much is on fire as much as how can I say this? As much as COVID-19 is on fire in every state in the United States and globally, right? So everyone's on fire. So this particular police officer was kind of on edge. He's kind of on edge. And so let's play the video. 213-943-3358. 213-943-3358. Let's play this. Let's see why he was on edge.
Outrage tonight over a South Carolina cop caught on camera saying the N-word not once, but twice.
The gentleman right there that called me.
Damn, are you serious?
They just called me.
Are you serious? The Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay, so now this guy is a police officer, right? He was called the N-word, And he didn't take too kindly to being called the N-word. So let the reporter set up the story, and then we're gonna come in, break in, and talk about it. Here we go.
Carolina Police Department fired the officer today, calling his actions on the video inexcusable.
Put it down. Governor's rule, you can't have any more alcohol after 11.
This is the voice of Sergeant Chad Walker on his body cam video.
Sir, if you drink that, you will go to jail.
He's clearing out a bar in Columbia, South Carolina Saturday night. Police say he's enforcing the governor's executive order to stop serving alcohol after 11 p.m.
They've got to be out of here. No alcohol open.
But before Sergeant Walker steps away, he says a man calls him the N-word. Then it really heats up between Walker and others outside the bar, and it escalates from there. De-escalation.
Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, so now the reporter, the host of this show called Up Late, is going to break down what de-escalation is supposed to mean, right? But watch how this unfolds, right? Now, this whole situation with COVID-19 has turned left to right, right to left, up, down, down, up, forward, backwards, backwards, forwards. It's like the anger in which this officer feels being called the N-word is almost as much anger as usually an American black would feel, or African black will feel being called Kappa or such and such, right? So let's go on. Watch this now.
Is a priority for all law enforcement agencies. It's when an officer tries to reduce the intensity of a conflict or potentially violent situation. But based on this body cam video, it got even more intense.
What's your problem?
My issue is you talking to these people of color as if they are less than human.
The people of color. The gentleman right there that called me a that guy that just called me a
Can you stop saying that word?
Try again. I've never said that a day in my life.
Okay, now remember, I said that life has been turned. Forward is backwards and backwards is forward. Up is down. Right is left, left is right. Notice what is on the young American black man's shirt. Did you notice what's on the American black man's shirt?
I can't see it. What's it say?
Okay. By gum, it is a Confederate flag. He is wearing a Confederate flag on his shirt. This is almost turning into that movie produced by Quincy Jones and Harry Belafonte, starring John Travolta, entitled A White Man's Burden. Now look at this. He's wearing a Confederate flag. He's been accused of calling a Caucasian police officer the N-word. Now, he is calm as can be. He said, watch when we play it, he says, I've never said that word in my life. I don't know. The jury's out on that one. But however, the Caucasian police officer is just off the chain with being called the N-word, and the American black dude has a Confederate shirt with the Confederate flag on, and on the other side is a monkey. I don't know if that's Bathing Ape. Remember that fashion? But over there on the other side is the Confederate flag. Let's keep playing now.
Yes, sir, you did.
Other officers tried to get Walker to leave the bar, but he continued to argue. So another customer tries to calm him down.
The gentleman that called me the N-word.
Sir, everything's done. Everything's
if you want to call it the N-word, but he said it. It's on camera.
Everything is done, sir.
So it's not like anything wasn't said to me.
Sir, everything's done now.
Well, this just...
Okay, let me pause this for a minute. this police officer who was so enraged about being called the N-word by an American black dude who had a monkey on one side of his shirt and embroidered in was a Confederate flag. He's so upset. And then he was a victim of white, in our opinion, white female fragility and white privilege when she said, "It's done now. Sir, it's all done now. Like, get over it." Like, Martin Luther King said, when it's done to you, sooner or later it'll be done to another group. Here he is, as a Caucasian male, upset with being called the N-word. He is victim to white privilege, white female fragility by saying, "It's over now. It's over now. Just go on ahead. Go on back home, N-word. You've been called that. Now it's over." Let's back this up. He is another customer of the bar, tried to de-escalate, right? Now remember, one customer says, "These people of color." The police come and try to walk him away, his fellow officers. Then the black guy said, "I have never said the N-word in my whole entire life." This is switched. This is up is down, backwards is forwards, forwards is backwards, left is right, right is left. This is all switched up all of a sudden. It's like everything that traditionally American blacks have gone through in this country, this particular police officer who is Caucasian is going through it. Listen.
Down. The gentleman that called me the N-word.
Sir, everything's done. Everything.
If you want to call it the N-word, but he said it. It's on camera.
Everything is done, sir.
So it's not like anything wasn't said to me.
Sir, everything's done now.
Well, this
is not like anything was said to me.
just came in within the last hour. The police chief says the department will continue to hold each other to the professional, ethical, and moral standards expected by our citizens and place the highest priority on maintaining public trust.
Public trust, not maintaining order, but public trust. What do you have to say to that? What do you have to say to that?
Public trust? Was he a police officer or a politician? I mean, which one is it? I mean, okay, so I'm looking at this and, all kinds of things are going through my head as usual. I'm looking at it and my first question is this a joke? The same thing about the video yesterday with the chick. Is this a joke? Now, if I see one more of these type of videos that spins the experience or tries to dilute the experience or tries to minimize the experience of Black people or to try to desensitize some of us are more angry than others, but in an attempt to try to desensitize the anger by adding some balance to the situation, supposedly by showing, see, you're not the only ones that are experiencing these things. See, look at what is happening. What is happening is it's starting to turn, and the white cops are starting to experience these things. The ones that are shooting you guys for no reason. See, they're starting to be accused and be called names. And so you're supposed to have a heart for this because, you're used to it and it's been happening to you for 400 plus years. And so you're supposed to be, able to identify. This is a point of demarcation, a point of identification, a point of commonality where you guys can draw the kumbaya, start singing the kumbaya song. We're all together. We're all in this together, brother. No matter that you shot 500 of us last week, we're all in this together. We know what it feels to be called that word. So many things that lets me know that there's more to the word than just the word itself. It's more than just a racial slur. He was so offended by that there's more to it than it just being a racial slur. I need to go do some research and dig up some more about what that word really means in its context when it's used like that. And that's for the woman who's saying it's over now, get over it. It's over now. He treated you so bad. Over now. Luther. But anyway, it's when I look at it, it just, to me, it's a trend. And we're going to see a trend of more of these type of videos that's trying to desensitize or minimize the effect of what has happened for hundreds of years during this time. Another thought that I had was everything being flipped upside down. Right is called wrong, wrong is called right. Everything is inside out, upside down, inverted. This is an attempt to have the people's minds be everywhere. Do not be distracted and tossed to and fro with every change of media hype. Stay focused. Stay watching, reading between the lines. Stay listening to what's not being said. Stay being able to hear, because all of this stuff, they're going to keep on throwing. They're going to get more and more creative with these videos, commercials, everything. They're going to get more and more creative. And because they know that the people are victims of the goddess Medea that is over media, and they're like to be entertained. So don't look at stuff as entertainment, but keep your eyes and ears open through the spirit, not just what they're showing you and telling you, okay? Because you're going to be a sitting duck if you do that.
What's interesting about this, as we go through, as I kind of scrub it a little bit here, this guy right here, no, not him, the reverse angle on his body cam, the black guy. Here we go. Let me move this back a little bit. Okay, so this is a bathing ape design, I believe, and it's got a gas can. He's pouring gas on a Confederate flag, and the Confederate flag is on fire, right? So I don't know who the bathing ape is within that scenario of what the t-shirt means. This is some good tea, by the way. The person who made it, excellent, great tea. But anyway, listen. I don't know what that means, right? And who's the ape in that. I don't know if in this case, as in the metaphor, that the Caucasian police officer is actually burning the Confederate flag because he is incensed by the word that was used to usually denigrate the guy who is standing there unfazed by the word at this moment. Right? He's unfazed other than, are you serious? I've never used the N-word in my life.
That's actually kind of funny.
Right, this is hilarious. And then the police officer, this guy, he's going ham over being called the N-word. This is hilarious. And this is a hilarious change of fortune for those who have used words. So when I look at it as if they know that the word is negative, and they wouldn't want to be called the word, especially by someone who is American black, who is wearing a bathing apes, it appears, t-shirt with the American the American flag. That's a Freudian slip. With the Confederate flag on fire.
That's funny.
And the roles are reversed. He's the angry one being called the N-word. They can do nothing about it. And then the black man is the one that's in denial. I never did that. I never tied you to a fan and rode you down the Mississippi River after shooting you in your head. I never did that. Never lynched. Never did any of that. Never did. And he would be right. He never did. But the jury is still out on if he used the N-word. Now, here's an example of a Arkansas or Arkansas sheriff resigns after racist rant leaks. So let me set this up, right? So he and a woman that he is dating or interested in, they're not married, it doesn't appear, go to the Piggly Wiggly in Arkansas, right? Arkansas. They go to the Arkansas Piggly Wiggly in whatever city they are in Arkansas, right? Mm-hmm. So they go in and they're shopping, and I don't know if the black man was a cashier or just a sales associate that was on the floor stocking shelves, or if he was just a stock guy. But the woman that this particular Arkansas sheriff was with struck up a conversation with the black man, and this is what ensued afterwards. This is a recording, so listen very closely.
Why are you talking to me like that? I'm not blaming nothing on you. I just...
Now, she asked him, why are you talking to me like that? Because he's cursing her, right? He's cursing her. And then he says, you effing N-word lover. Okay. Now that's quite some years ago. That's those terms like that's so long ago. That's like a throwback to the 1940s, 50s or something. There's been a lot of N-word lovers, especially with the athletes, I would suppose, if that's the way you're looking at it, right? So let's back it up just a little and let's play forward. So I laid out the scenario and the situation. So let's play this out.
Every motherfucker in that store, you gotta talk to the fucking dreadlocked ass nigger.
So he says, every MF in the store, you had to talk to the N-word, right? Of all the people in the store, you had to talk to the N-word. What is his problem? Is this a case of needing to be on FANAP? Did the voices in his head say, she's disrespecting you? She's talking to an N-word and you're no good, but he's less than you, and berate her for her choice of who she was holding a conversation with inside the Piggly Wiggly. The Piggly Wiggly.
Right there in front of me, like y'all fucking big fuck
I didn't think it was a big deal since I was
It is a big fucking deal. Well, people fucking see me and see you talking to fucking niggers.
And they know that. Why are you talking to me like that?
Okay, so, by the way, you see it across there. Viewer discretion is advised, so we told you that already because it was going to be a lot of N-words being thrown around. 9 times they said about N-word. He said it 9 times in this recording. The recording cuts off after 30 seconds, but he was berating her longer, so he probably said the N-word probably 1,000 times before it was over. Look. We have finally seen progress, right? There is, they say there is no progress. Do you realize that had that happen any other time, maybe 10 years ago, if that had happened, that man would have called his posse and they would have found that young American black male walking home or driving home. They would have stopped him, and somewhere you would have found him strung up, hung in the woods.
Yeah.
Right? So times have advanced because instead he berates the woman that he's interested in. Viewer discretion is advised because we're going to run through it one more time to get this, because this world is turning topsy-turvy. First you got a Caucasian officer that hated being called. Here's this guy living like he's back in the 1950s, like we don't know what's happening, like the voices from the 1950s was coming in his head, and he thought people were... Did you notice what he said, though? Did you notice what he said? Just like the FanApp commercial. All these people, they're going to be looking at me, and you're talking to an N-word. Is that not a case? Just our opinion. Is that not a case where you should have some FanApp? Listen.
I'm not blaming nothing on you. I just...
And every motherfucker in that store, you gotta talk to the fucking dreadlocked ass nigger. Right there in front of me, like y'all fucking big
I didn't think it was a big deal since I was
It is a big fucking deal. Well, people fucking see me and see you talking to fucking niggers.
And they know that...
There we go. So, you see, they see me, and they see you talking to an effing N-word. Well, that is just the biggest case. They shouldn't have never let Crazy D see that FanApp commercial, because this pretty much solves what we've been going through. Because we've said on TFR Podcast Live, hashtag TFR Podcast Live, that racism is a mental illness, and it's not meant to be excuse that they have mental illness because they're psychotic with the mental illness, right? Up to this point. But now it is proven that it is some kind of schizophrenia, because he said all these people are gonna look at me and you're talking to an N-word. You're talking to an N-word.
I mean, this is actually it's sad, and it's humorous to me, because you're the sheriff. So this is the man that is responsible for protecting or heading up the protection squad of the community. So this is what it is. So it makes you wonder how many cities and how many states have this type of leadership in its law enforcement. Well, I think it's becoming obvious, sadly. But a couple of things about this whole thing. Number one, the minute he started cussing, he should have been standing there by himself. If this is somebody he was interested in, I don't know how new their relationship was or whatever, he should have been standing there by himself. As soon as he got started, he should have been standing there by himself. The other part is that, you know, he is, like you said, he's exhibiting paranoia. And then that paranoia is going to lead to, because paranoia and speculation are closely related. So through that paranoia, he speculates that all these people, he's assuming and he's speculating that all these people is even going to care about this person that's with him and who she's talking to. Most of the people are probably going on about their business. They're not paying any attention to that. They're just going on about their business. But he supposes or speculates that he is he is on the radar, and so everybody's looking at him. What he said was, all these people around, they see you with me, and you are talking to. Well, I mean, that's easy to solve. Just stop seeing each other. That's easy. That's easy to solve. But you know, this FanApp thing, we make jokes about it, but it's really serious because it looks like more than we knew have this mental condition of this schizophrenia, this paranoid schizophrenia. And I don't want to offend people who are legitimately diagnosed with the illness and have been battling with it. But it's one thing, now this is in my experience, and it's my opinion and my experience. I have interacted with quite a few people with that were diagnosed with that, and those that I suspected of having that. And there's something to be said about that, because even with a mental illness, something about who a mentally ill person is talking to. That's why I don't always categorize it as mental illness. I categorize it as a spiritual problem, because I've had to deal with that with people in that element. And for some reason, they can calm down.
Disclaim that that's your opinion. We have to disclaim.
I said.
That's your opinion. Okay, go continue on.
Yeah. Yeah, I did say that. I was careful to say that because, there's a different dynamic that I operate in. So that's the reason why. So, I've experienced that. And what I've come to find out, in my opinion, and by my experience, is that they are still, for lack of a better word, controllable, right? They're controllable. So this individual right here, look at him. He looks like somebody from possibly, I'm just naming racist groups, possibly an Aryan nation, possibly a skinhead, something that is anti-Black. It's clear from his language he's anti-Black. But look at him, and he's the sheriff of the town. He looked like he going to a meeting right afterward, right? And so look at him, and this is who is in charge of that particular community. That's scary. Look at him. Not only that, he looks, his eyes look sinister. He looks like he's got more going on. It's a whole lot going on when you look in those eyes. It's a whole lot going on. That's a scary thing, that would be the sheriff of the city. Scary.
When we're looking at it, so back to this meme. There's never been anything like what's going on now, and most don't see that this is an end game. But who's going to be ended by the game? And we have talked to you for the last few days on the show, because again, this is different than hashtag TFR Podcast Live. This is hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB. Observations, our opinions on things that are happening in the society, in the world today, and just looking at it. And we talked about this in the first few episodes, is what it is the people who they think are going to be on the chessboard are not the ones that are actually going to be on the chessboard. And the best way you could do is take the most cogent advice from whoever came up with this phrase, but it's might as well be considered an old Negro spiritual. We're staying out the way of this one. This one is a battle. This is a civil war between good and evil, depending on which side the Caucasians think they're on. This is a battle, and in between time, you have immigrants coming in. But we've talked about that. We've talked about that in nauseam. So go back to the previous shows, 6 through 1, and then you will get all that information. We're on episode 7, heading into 8. Here's another meme. Black people understand the line is drawn in the sand. Oh, Voice Watkins trying to rhyme. Black people understand the line is drawn in the sand. No reparations 2020, no Biden presidency. You see, that's very important, Because you see these different things happening, and you have to make sure that American blacks are a protected class. You have to make sure, we have to come out of the mindset and get into a mind state that we will be a protected class. We have to get out of the mindset that some people have, that we have to keep on having non-profits to do things to make money, when in actuality we need to have for-profit organizations that are primarily supported by American blacks, and then secondarily supported by African blacks, Jamaican blacks, Haitian blacks, Dominican blacks, Puerto Rican blacks, Brazilian blacks, right? Our infrastructure predominantly supported by American blacks, which means that our mindset has to change from nonprofit to for-profit for the purpose of the building of our American black economy, right? So we have to deal with this, and reparations is the part. We've talked to you before about Biden's plan. All you have to do is go to Google, type in Biden's plan. Biden's plan within his plan for American blacks is loans to get a home with a $15,000 rebate. What's the average cost of a home today? $150,000. Now this is what, if you remember, this is what Kamala was kicking, right? She was kicking that. Now, out the platform, there's nothing in there about the $2,000 a month, like how the one Asian dude that was running, all that is out. They had pitched that, but then they threw that out, right? That's not in there. But loans for a $150,000 house, you're going to get a $15,000 rebate. Well, what are you going to do with 10% of $150,000? Absolutely, positively, nothing. That's going to be gone, because you got to pay not only the mortgage, but you got to pay the property tax. That's going to be gone. Okay, that's one thing. But you go further in his plan. What does he do for immigrants? Tax identification number, free health care, free subsidized housing in the suburbs, a guaranteed job, meaning that you're going to be training your replacement. We've talked about that on #TFRPodcastLive in between episodes 121 through 128. You just go watch it. You know, we've given you all the information that you need between episodes 104 through 110, and from episodes 121 through 128. We've given you all the information you need to know about COVID and what's at stake in this election, right? Getting loans puts you in a potential situation to put you in debt. Oh, that's the biggest trick ever. Meanwhile, again, the immigrant. Tax identification number. They're not even a citizen. Driver's license. Subsidized housing in the suburbs. Free health care, no copays. And the right to vote. The Democrats always hope that the immigrants will vote Democrat because of what they do for them. But they usually look at the power dynamic and say, this is a republic. This is what, we see. So we're going to vote Republican. And this is what you see. So this is a kick in the teeth. And so that's why Boyce saying black people understand the line is drawn in the sand. No reparations 2020, no Biden presidency, right? No Biden presidency. We need to be a protected class. We need to have the reparations funds paid to us. We need to have what the immigrant has, which is we already have a social security number. We're already a citizen. So the TIN number, we might need a EIN number so we can start a business. Yeah.
Right.
Let's switch this up. Come on. We give solutions here. That's why they're trying to block us, because we give solutions here. Then we need that free subsidized housing in the suburbs. And when we say free subsidized housing, we're not talking about projects. We're talking about when we say they're going to get free subsidized housing, they're going to get a nice 2-story home. It's going to look like they belong. And so that's what we need. We need that. We need that protected class. We also need those guaranteed jobs, right? While we're able to create our business. And we need free health care. And I would expand out to be kind, but not before us, but all American citizens should have that free health care that the immigrant is getting for coming over. Yeah. So we bring solutions here at TFR Podcast Live, hashtag TFR Podcast Live, and TFR Podcast Live OB, hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB, which is observations, our opinions on situations that are happening to us today. And what do you have to say about that, Tanya?
That meme is absolutely correct. And it's high time that we began to stand up, and throughout our conversations over the other episodes, I was thinking there has to come a time where we stand up and say, well, you know what? No, it's not going to be that way. No, we're not voting at all. No, we're not. We're not going to participate. We're going to sit this one out as a unified collective front. We're going to sit this one out because every year after year after year, every 4 years, y'all lie. Every 4 years, you tell us this and we get that. Every 4 years, you have problems with your memory as to what you said. Every 4 years, something else takes precedent over what it is that you promised us. Every 4 years, we're sat on the back burner while you continue to make decisions that benefit other people. Now you have the unmitigated gall to bring in and tell immigrants, as you're trying to draw immigrants. Why? Because you want to pay them pennies on the dollar. Yeah, you're going to give them a job, but you're not going to have to pay them as much as the people who are citizens. Yeah, you're going to give them a TIN number because they're not going to be classified as a citizen per se. So you're able to pay them at lower wages, and they may not fall under the laws of minimum, well, probably just barely minimum wage. So of course you're doing that. But we have to say, no matter how, we have to be willing to make sacrifices. And see, the problem is they're able to run roughshod over us the way they have because they know that there is a certain demographic of us that are not going to be inconvenienced and not going to lay our acquisitions and our prosperity down, which really is not your prosperity as long as you got to pay for it. Is a segment of us that's not going to be willing to make the sacrifice in order to put us on an even playing field. Long as you have yours, you are all right with it. But see, here's the thing. They will allow you to sit in that position, and at the end, they can rip the rug right out from under you. Now you on the playing field, you on the lower end of the field, when we all could have been on the upper end of the field. And so he's saying Black people understand the line is drawn in the sand. This is it. It's what that means. Either you're going to mess or get off the pot. That's what that means. That means either you're going to stand with a group of people and say, hey, if we're not going to get our reparations, if you're not while you issuing out, and at what expense are you giving all these things to the immigrants? At what expense are you using our reparations money to give all of this out to the immigrants? No, we're not going to have it. Either we get the reparations money that we're due so that we can move forward in the things that we need to get done, else you're not bringing those people in here and giving them all that. Not only the reparations money, we want the other stuff you offered them. We want the free health care. We want better opportunities to open businesses. We want the subsidized housings in good neighborhoods, nice neighborhoods. We want that because we work for that and we deserve that. And we're no longer going to let you make the decision about whether you're going to do it not peacefully. We're not going to let you peacefully continue to run over us like a Mack truck or a tank in a war. You're not going to continue to do that, and we not do anything about it. So we're not going to fight, because y'all got a bad habit of wanting to label some some verbiage as terrorists or whatever. Just terrorists, threats of terrorists. You naming everything terrorism. Oh, stop it already. You labeling anything that's not in agreement with y'all as terrorism. This is not what this is. This is saying that you have been extremely one-sided, extremely unfair, extremely without a cause to a people to whom some you brought in, some were already here, but nevertheless, this country was built, the majority, on our backs. Nevertheless, most of the things are modern day conveniences, a traffic light, clothes dryer. It's about 50 or more things, actually more than that. Hundreds of things that we use in our everyday life. In our everyday life, life would not be as convenient as it is for everybody without these modern day appliances, conveniences, flipping the light switch. All of these things was on our creativity, coming out of our brains. And you have the nerve to continue to want to run over us like we're nothing. So you have recategorized slavery and kept us in it still. We're not going to do that anymore. And unless you're willing to stand with us who are saying, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing it. And some of us are willing to say, I'm one of those people, I'm like a kamikaze operative. I'm one of those people, I will shut everything down. I will throw the cell phone out the window. I will get rid of every modern day convenience. I will get rid of stuff, and I will operate in a bare minimum just to get this done. And you can't be jellyback about it. You got to do it.
You know what? If black people threw away all their cell phones today, that would cripple everything, and they would come to the table and say, what do you want? See, that's what marching was about. That's what marching was for during the Montgomery bus boycott. That's what it was for. It was for that fact to cripple them economically. If you're just marching and you're not doing, you haven't set any plan in place that will cripple what you want to get done, to get the result that you want. If it's not crippling them financially, you're just marching. You're just out there. What are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing? What is your purpose? What is your point? What are you doing? Right? So if we threw the cell phones down today, it would cripple them by the end of the week. End of the week. What's today?
Yep.
What's today?
Today's Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday.
Today's Thursday.
They will be crippled on Friday. If we said, no, everybody cut their plans and said, it's over, boom. Or everyone just decided to just click off of Facebook and say, we're going over we're going to just primarily just deal with Twitter, right? Because Facebook and Instagram are the same people now. They're going to, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that when we talk about the cost of citizenship on citizens in a society. It's coming, right? So stay with us, right? Look, so if that was just done, that would cripple, and we are the entertainment. What you forget is, while they're disagreeing with us, where there are some people who are disagreeing with us who are not owners but just workers, if I'm an owner, I'm not going to allow those to interpret what I mean who are just workers. I'm going to be there overseeing and saying, this is what I mean by that, right? Because workers, just workers, which there's nothing wrong with being a worker, because we showed that meme yesterday. Worker, started out a worker, now they're the owner, right? Workers, if they're just doing it just to have some work, just to have something to get a paycheck, and they don't really care what happens to your thing, so they will hard hand your policies, stamp them hard because they don't care. But you as the owner, knowing that you can lose patronage, you say, maybe I shouldn't leave that in the hands of those who have never been owners, right? And so that's part of what we're going to be getting to, right? But you have to begin to organize, to mobilize, or you can mobilize to organize. But it's best to organize, because an organization is only 10 people. The Civil Rights Movement was actually 10 people. But when they mobilized, because they were organized, they had the plan and the walking orders, and they were out amongst the people executing with the people, because they are the people. And so that's what it is, and that's what we're saying. So look, people, here's another meme. We got to keep moving, rapid fire on the information. We give you enough so that you get it, and then go out and research it for yourself. Okay, so this meme right here talks about, funny how the biggest race baiting Dems are married to Caucasian people, right?
Wow.
Very interesting observation, very interesting observation. It's interesting, and we'll leave that right there for another time, because, we don't find nothing wrong with mix, because it does come back to us as the mix goes along. So we just leave that right there. But anyway, people, just real quickly, Michael B. Jordan has written heartfelt words about the passing of Chadwick Boseman, and you can read those. We have the link. On the Crazon Dion page, where you can click it and it goes to the TFR podcast blog, where you can read his words. It takes you right over to Lordlandfilms.com, or you can go over to Lordlandfilms.com after the show is over and read his heartfelt words concerning Chadwick, right? It's Lament in there, because if we had just had more time, right? Just more time, right? As we move through. Now, here's one that I thought was interesting, and I'm just going to put it up there, and I want to let you see it, Tanya. And then I want to see your reaction to this. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Let me make it bigger. I'm going to make it bigger real quick. Cover myself up real quick. Here we go. What's the theme song? Baby, so in love with you. Is that the, when you go to Al Green's, right? Pharmacy. Right. Are you gonna hear nothing but Al Green in the music? And the music playing above saying bye, bye, bye. Are you gonna hear nothing but so in love with you? Or my all-time favorite. Yeah, I thought that was real good. I thought that was real good. I thought that was a laugh. That was a chuckle that came out when I saw that. Or one of my favorite. Don't look so sad. I know it's over for the good times.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's
Al
funny.
Greens. Al Greens. I thought that was pretty good. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that was good. That's good.
We're getting ready to come to where the rubber hits the road. We're starting to rubber hit the road. We warmed up, so let's get to it now. All right, people. Here's this meme. All right, here's this meme. And it reads, Miami's most stylish family, gay dads, Danny and Roger, and their 3 kids. Take a look at that, people. Take a look at that. Let me say it again. Let me run it again, right? Miami's most stylish family, gay dads, Danny and Roger, and their 3 children, right? And their 3 children. So the first question to me is not, okay, they're gay. That's not my question. That's not my question about this meme. My question is gay or straight or in between, trisexual, bisexual, in between sexual, but if they were heterosexuals, let's say they're heterosexual, what are 2 Caucasian men wanting to raise 3, I don't know, they might be African black, I'm not sure. But why do they want to raise 3 black babies? Why do 2 white men want to raise 3 black babies?
Are you able to blow that up for me a little bit? Are you able to? So I didn't realize that they were Caucasian because I couldn't see that clearly, but I could clearly see the black babies. Now, are all of those babies male? Are they all?
Yes.
Okay. To me, the first word that came to my mind was conditioning. Conditioning. I'm seeing an onslaught like what's that actress's name that adopted the boy from Africa, and then
they're wrong. She adopted
Charlize
2,
Theron,
and both of them have decided that they like to. They feel that they feel better in girls' clothing.
Well, yeah, because they've probably been surrounded by that since they were younger. You can decrease the photo now because I can't see you, but they probably have been around that since they've been here, and prior to even getting with her, they had been into some situations. These are speculations. These are not facts that I know. They're speculations in my opinion, but I believe that they had already been probably violated, more than likely, and she got a hold to them, and they feel more comfortable in women's clothing if that's all that they're around. And in her industry, that's all she keeps them around. In her industry, while she's ready on a film set or whatever, what's around most is people that they see, they tend to be conditioned. These are their formative years. I don't know how old they are, but they're still pretty young. So in their formative years, they were around that a lot, and they feel comfortable with that. They may have been babysat by somebody who was like that. And this is where it gets to be a problem. Now, here's one of the issues is every time something is said about this or something along these lines, you're attacked and accused of being, prejudiced against or whatever. We need to make things clear, especially if you hadn't noticed, any of you that are coming on and would take that stance about our conversation regarding this. If you hadn't noticed, we are Black. All right. If you hadn't noticed, we're Black. So having a prejudice against you, that's not the point. The point is having foresight enough, being able to see out far enough to see what the ramifications are of the decisions that are being made now in the recategorization of what's called family, right? Now, at least up until this point, children were raised in an environment where they saw different things, and the things that were outside the norm, so to speak, was seen on the television or maybe on the street, maybe in school or something like that. But in the home, there was a fair enough presentation made where when they got older, they were able to make a choice based on, the things that they had experienced and things like that. And some of the experiences have not been so good, but nevertheless, they had more of a chance to make a choice. At this time, though, we seem to be setting up a one-sided type of choice for children. And it's not fair. It's not fair that it's a one-sided choice. It's not fair. So when I look at that, I'm like, this is a trend that's going on, and they're trying to normalize it. That's why it's being celebrated, because it's trying to be normalized, So with that is something that is very disconcerting and concerning to me, that this would be the case, that this is it's almost like, look at what we're doing. We finally got things in the place we want to have it at. And for all of you that don't like it, so what? What are you going to do about it? But I do see a running theme of adopting Black boys from Africa and from other places and conditioning them. And so what happens with that over time, it's a reproduction until that is what you want to be the majority. My question is, why is that though? Why would there need to be a majority of that instead of you just living life the way you want to live it and, letting us heterosexuals live life the way we want to live it? Why is it that there has to be this onslaught and overrun of the presentation? That's why I don't understand. Now what would happen if all of the heterosexuals got together and started walking around with signs saying, I'm a proud heterosexual. I love being heterosexual. Heterosexual is the best thing. What if we start doing that? Then you're going to double back and say that we're being difficult the other way. So in other words, you're trying to present something that there's nowhere else to turn but to accept it and keep on going. I've often considered getting me a sign and just walking around and saying I'm a proud heterosexual. What would be wrong with that? It's true. You're proud in what you're doing. And it's not to say I'm a proud heterosexual is not to bash you as a homosexual, right? Isn't that your line of reasoning? When you do what you do, you're saying, well, me being a proud homosexual is not to slight those of you who are heterosexual. So we have to keep it fair.
Yeah, which brings us to the meme that I put up after showing that one with the 2 Caucasian dads and 3 Black children. I still don't really understand where they're going with that. Why would you want to raise? I remember I was pushing carts at a certain grocery store that will remain nameless during my college days. I was front end tech, packing bags, collecting carts, and it was a Caucasian family that came in, and they had a little. She was pretty as a button, cute as a button. She could have been more like three years old. They had her dressed nice and everything, had her hair done and barrettes and everything. So I said that's a plus. But the grandmother, the old Caucasian lady, took the little girl and put her in the cart, and she was like, sit down, and the little girl was like, went like that, and I was like, and I couldn't say anything because I'm just the front end tech, but I'm looking at this, right, and I'm looking at this woman and what she's doing, and how she had the girl like this, like she said, her, sit down in the cart. Now the little girl wasn't doing anything. She just wanted to strike fear in her for whatever reason because she needed to be on some fan. The voice was like, this little girl looks prettier than you. Well, you're old, wrinkly, old. Anyway.
Battle axe.
Right. Yeah, sit down. And she was like this, cute as a button. And I wonder what type of psychosis came from that as she grew up in this family. And that always made me question, why would a Caucasian family want to adopt black children? Will the black children sooner or later be kind of like the maids? I know Facebook is acting strange with sunglasses. Really Tracy says, yes, it's acting strange. Yeah, I figure it would because of the topic that we're on, and we're getting ready to come around to what we need to talk about. So let's keep on forging ahead. But we're just talking from our point of view, our opinion, our observation on it, and our observation is just as valid as anyone else's. Everyone's observation is valid. It's all opinion. And through opinion comes consensus, and through consensus, and in politics, there's meetings and amendments and compromises, and it comes together to make the law that's all together. It can't be all ramrod, all one way and not the other way, right? So look, let that sink in. I got that one off.
Yeah, you got that one.
But so I saw that and I'm like, why would that happen? Which leads to the meme that you sent over for us to talk about, which the guy says that this is the new me. If you don't accept it, it's going to be me. Love me, hate me, it's me. And my thing is, my thing is live and let live. Just be ready when the time comes to think with your third eye and be out the way when this civil war comes into play. Let me see what you got to say.
Yeah, I seen this, and thanks to my friend Ron Carbo, I saw this on his Facebook timeline this morning, and it it was asking the sisters primarily about what they would say if their man came home and said, "This is what's up." You can either be with it or get to stepping. And so, of course, I gave my comment. Well, I'm out of there, because with that, it don't just stop there. A person, I'm all with art and being different. I'm one of the most, different and non-traditional people that you will ever meet. However, there are boundaries, right? And so if I'm a woman who prefers a heterosexual man. Now, I just want to let y'all know there are heterosexual women that prefer bisexual men. That's for another show. But I am a heterosexual woman who prefers heterosexual men, right? So now, if who I thought was a heterosexual man came home with that on and gave me an ultimatum, saying this is what's up, either you with it or we through. I'm like, okay, well, it's been nice knowing you, because that right there, it doesn't stop there. How deep is that rabbit hole going to go? And what are you now? You are representing. You have become a representation of something. You become a representation of something. What might that be? And how many different nuances is involved in it? And how deep is that rabbit hole going to go? Where are you going to stop? Where does the line get drawn? Where is it when you come home with and not only that dress and those corresponding petticoats without ruffles, that is looks like something from the 50s, 60s, 70s. But I mean, that's beside the point. The fact that it's a dress at all is enough. This is not our culture. We're not Irish. We don't wear the kilts. We don't do anything like that here. So what would be the purpose of that? Even the people who, I don't know if that was photoshopped or what it was, but even the people who modeled for this photo, what is it that made you free enough to do this unless you were already operating on the other side? You already are exhibiting homosexual, bisexual, pansexual, whatever sexual behavior besides hetero is being demonstrated in your garb that you have on. And nobody could tell me anything different if you walk into my house with that on. That's not going to work. Not for me, because it's not attractive. It's a turnoff. But it represents a much bigger problem. I mean, it's a big problem because now, the saying used to be, well, a lot of our men are incarcerated. And so at one time they were saying the ratio was 7 women to every man, because every man that was not incarcerated. Then you had to narrow those things down to the men who are just bums. They're not men, they're boys. They're not very non-productive in life and don't get nothing done. So now your ratio is even further down. Now you have to limit it even more to individuals like this. And some women will go for it. They're going to go for it because they're going to say, shoot, well, at least he still want to be with me. Well, I say, well, no, we're going to need to find some other alternatives, like maybe just being single and not dealing with people at all. You know what I'm saying? Because that is not going to work. That's not something I'm going to conform to. And I'm going to tell you what the sisters in our conversations with each other, we need our men to be strong and to stand up against this way that they're trying to play y'all and throw y'all and include y'all into this newfangled idea of what norm is, trying to change the norms. And we need for you, some of us are some pretty strong women, a person like me and some of my friends, and we're not strong in the sense that we're disrespectful of men. I honor men. I honor the Black man. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with the word submission. As long as you give me something to submit to, I will submit. If you're submitted to God, I can submit to you. All right. But strong women who have a strong sense of character and integrity and strong in who they are need for our men to be able to be that much stronger so that we can do this thing together. What I look like, the way I preach and teach and the things that I say going out, and that's on my arm. That's no kind of protection. That's no kind of, he's made the statement with what he got on. Ain't nothing he could say that's going to rectify that. So we need for our men to be resolute and strong in who they are as Black men and as Black men who are led by God, because you have to be, God is inside you, but you need to be sensitive to that and be led by that, because we're not going to make it. This is a effort to extinguish the Black family yet again. Another effort to extinguish the Black family. Why? Because we're powerful. We can get things done. Our minds are ingenious. And when you put the Black man and woman together, we are ingenious and unstoppable. This is the reason why there's been such a concentrated effort to undermine it.
And so that's all that needs to be said about that. You know, go do your research. Another example of trying to dismantle the American Black family, or in that aspect, then the Black diaspora, but we're speaking about American Black here. And it's a way to dismantle the family, to try to extinguish the lifeblood and the continued lines of American Black people, right? So we have to know that from the 100 to 1 to the 3 strikes, everything was put there to try to eliminate a group of people who just keep coming. They keep coming.
Yeah.
All right, people. So look, that's why we waited until the end of the show to hit the topic. The topic is the cost of censorship on citizens of the society. The cost of censorship on the citizens of a society, right? Now, the censorship first began for me back in some older Facebook pages. It began for me when I found out Obama, this was 2016, when I found out that what Obama had done in the 8 years was inept for American Blacks. And I was on his butt. I was constantly posting to his page. And next thing you know, well. So we say here, since if this is going to happen, then we might as well go out and leave the information and go out with a gusto, right? That's what we say. So 2020, the round of censorship that I saw, I'm observing because we observe for our people, period, right? So the round of censorship began with COVID-19, this round of it, right? Blocking DJs from doing what they do to promote themselves and promote the label's music, because that's exactly what, you know, they were doing all the time, was promoting the label's music. That's what they did. And all of a sudden, it was no longer good enough or great enough to be able to do that, right? So that was number one. Number two, this particular platform, which we're not going to name, strong arms, in my opinion, control of IG. Think you're going to run the IG? Think again. They're owned by the same people. Number three, moving the Honorable the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, who spreads the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from IG and Facebook, right? Equating him to Alex Jones, who, because we don't believe in censorship over here at TFR Podcast Live or TFR Podcast Live OB, who also had a right to uncensored free speech, right or wrong, on a free platform, censoring what's said from either party, right? From either audience. So these platforms are censoring both audiences from the people who they want to listen to. I believe that is totally wrong. Number four, it doesn't matter if you place disclaimers or not, because we place disclaimers, right? They will censor you when you discuss topics that they think people should not hear. That is censorship. Am I supposed to trust the people? In the beginning, when President Obama was in office and black people were talking situations about anti-Republican, I'll say, they were blocking you. When you start waking up and you're thinking about what Obama was doing and you're making facts about what Obama did and didn't do, they block you. Now that you are anti-Republican and you're going against Trump, they're blocking you. Because now they're on a Democratic slant. Anything that you say against, if you say something positive about Trump, they block you. If you say something that is fact about what the Democrats did not do for American black people, they block you. So either way, they're blocking you because it's the people who are working the behind the scenes. See, this right here, we got this one first. It talks about information not being factual about COVID-19. Did we ever say that what we said was fact? We said go research and find out for yourself. But this is what's out there. That's what responsible reporting or having a responsible opinion is. We're not saying fact. Go research it for yourself. Then above, they say in October they're going to be able to remove services, remove what you post, if they feel that if it mitigates any problem they may have with legal issues for this particular platform. That's, in my opinion, an excuse to censor. So we wanted to get this out here because this is ridiculous. Such as, okay, so when you discuss topics that they think people should not hear, such as who is being let into the U.S., who have been given position and power to turn America into, in our opinion, a big India. Even the techs that run this are sent in from India because what did Kamala do? But San Francisco, she brought in IT and tech from India, you see. So when you have people who come in, remember I said that you're an owner. You've built this platform. This platform is a society. So when we say the cost of censorship on the citizens of a society, you have built a society on a web platform within a society. This is a society with citizens that communicate, that are the entertainment so that you can sell advertisement. And you have people who don't have as much skin in the game as you, making decisions, interpreting what rules that you put down and what policies you put down. They're implementing them and deciding on them with a hard hand, with a rough hand, slamming them down as hard as they can because of their culture and where they come from, and they don't understand or haven't researched and don't know the knowledge because the education system has not taught the truth here, and they wouldn't even get the truth even if they came from K through 12. They still wouldn't get the full truth, so they think that they know, but they don't know. Even if they naturalized citizens, they still don't know because they're taught something to make America seem great. But how great is America that it still exists, even though it has been so and acted so poorly towards people who built the country, right? So if I'm a person, I'm an owner, I'm not going to rely on workers because workers don't know what it is to own something. Once they learn how to own something, they get in those ownership shoes, then they will be less hard-handed, but then they will hire people and the cycle will go on, but they will probably learn and say, I was hard-handed, I'm not going to do that on my digital platform because I really didn't care about old boy because he wasn't my race or my people. So let's continue. 5. Just in case you think, keep your head down and talk mundane topics to keep a presence on this platform. One day, they will find a problem with what you create. First, they won't like what you say. Second, they'll start to remove your post because they don't believe in what you believe in. 3, they will send warnings masked as concern. This is not. Number 4, they will stop your ability to make money on the platform. And number 5, they will make effective policies which are arbitrary to your healthy mind state on this society, on this platform that a person made, that is a society within a society. And number 6, they will remove you from the platform. And what do I say to that? Hey, it's their platform. Let them have it. We had Planet Black. We moved from that. Now we have nothing. And we have to go back to building and making sure that we have platforms that understand what we say. So that if it's I don't even want to say liberal, whatever the black thought is, it is a place of commerce and free thought, of exchanging ideas without being penalized for exchanging those ideas. And so that's why we put this, and we will not address this again, because like the things that we've addressed from episodes 1 through 6, and now this is 7, and what we've addressed from episodes 104 to 110 and 121 through 128 of TFR Podcast Live, we're not going to have to address that again, because all the information, we have placed all the information there. Our topics continue to flow and change because we are about non-censored flow and exchange of ideas without being penalized for having those thoughts and those ideas, because to penalize people for having legitimate thoughts and ideas that they express make it seem like your thoughts are more in your head and you're hearing voices and you might need some fan help.
That's absolutely right. And people, this is serious business. I'm going to just elaborate real short on how serious this is. All right. They are censoring. Actually, the censoring is just temporary to an end goal. And earlier, Dee talked about the meme where it said this is an end game. It's an end game, but who's going to win or who's going to lose the end game? There's a lot going on here, and like never before, if I can't be more plain, this is not a time to rest on your laurels and just sit and watch things happen. When we talk to you about health things, diet, things like that, that is all informational. That's all. It transmits information and enables your ability to be able to discern and be able to connect the dots, so to speak. So we as Black people are going to have to be in the mind state that we are, everything that we do, every decision that we make concerning our health, concerning our children, concerning anything, that's everything has to be made informed, and it has to be made with the mind state that we are going to function independently of what we've been a part of. Now, see, to some of y'all, I have already cussed. To some of y'all, oh, well, this is the greatest country. And look, I'm not on all of that. What I'm telling you is this country has made its, I'm not anti-America. I'm anti the crap that some of America imposes, which is a lot. It's a lot. And what I'm saying is, with regards to the censorship, they're doing this temporarily while they're working out a way to alter and reverse and erase the frequencies of your mind. They're doing that. This is a trial run. Censorship is a trial run Because when you're walking along one day, or you get an idea, say you get a knowledge of a witty invention, something, a business you want to start, or you wake up from the middle of the night and you have an idea in your head, because we're wired to function that way. And we get up and we don't write it down. See, now somebody is going to try to say this is paranoid, but you don't write it down. And then the next day, you can't remember. You can't remember. In fact, you never even knew that you thought that. You never, but then you see something, somebody talking about it, you say, that sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar, that idea. Yeah, you had it 2 years ago. Yeah, you had it a year ago, but it was erased out of your mind. See, this is what it's coming to. And if your immune system and your mind state has not changed and been changed and solidified, and if you are not active, exercising it on a continual basis, if you're not being proactive in getting things done, if you're just sitting there and watching this regularly scheduled programming and being if you're being programmed and stuff is being channeled into your mind, channeled into your spirit, if the dials are being spun to adjust your frequencies, you will be just a person that can help keep the machine going, but you will not have the ability to create. You will not have the ability to discern. You will be like a functioning zombie, just a step above the zombie movies. That's exactly what it will be. And this is where they're heading. I told y'all, well, you guys, for those of you who are not familiar with my platform, last year, I said we're in the time of the fives. Here's this 5G, and we're in the fifth dimension. All right. Fifth dimension is a mind state. All right. Fifth dimension is a lot. Go look it up, what the fifth dimension is. And for you Christian people, know it's not just New Age theology. I'm tired of that. You have got to learn something. These two fives, one is diabolically opposed to the other one. 5G is at the time of fifth dimension. Fifth dimension is the time of the wake up, the time that people are waking up, the time that people are ascending in their mind state, ascending in their frequencies. And 5G is here to tear that down. Well, where's your proof? Where's your proof? Go research it and keep get your immunity system boosted up. Get your mind frequency, get your spirituality boosted up. Else, it's just going to be what it be. I know some people won't listen, but we have to put the information out there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right, people. So, what we have been saying, right? All this, we have jam-packed information from episode 1 through episode 8. They've been playing around with what's going on, and I've seen this happen before. And so we decided we would just go hit it head on, because why not? Why not hit it head on and just say that this is what's happening, and then this is what it is, and this is how they want it to be, right? Because, like we always tell you, the revolution will not be televised on television. When you're watching Power, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised during Empire. The revolution will not be televised during the rerun of Friends or Living Single. The revolution will not be televised watching, though it's a great show, Lovecraft Country. The revolution will not be televised watching Dick Tracy or a rerun of Harriet Tubman. The revolution will not be televised watching Black Panther for the 100th time. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. But you know where the revolution will be televised? The revolution will be televised in the hospitals. That's right, people. So if you think that you're going to be out there on the streets and you think that there's going to be this big, well, there is a civil war happening right before our eyes. Thank you, Democrats. There is a civil war happening. If you think it's going to be a revolution between black and white in this country, you are sadly mistaken, because the black will be out the way to watch this, because this will not be televised. This will not be televised on television. This will not be televised out on the streets. You know where this is going to be televised? This is going to be televised in the hospitals with who you let come into the hospital system and treat your ills, people. So listen, we have said all we had to say today, and we've got 11 plus minutes left, but there's no need to go any further because we hit all the topics. It's been a robust show, packed, and tomorrow I think we should go a little lighter and get into some more things to make you laugh. It's still gonna be around the same day, but you know, it's gonna make you laugh, because that's just about the dude talking about the N-word and not wanting to be called the N-word, and he wasn't even who would be traditionally be called the N-word. That was hilarious, and when you watch it, it's hilarious, son. But anyway, we have finished up. We're 11 minutes straight, and this has been a great episode of hashtag TFR Podcast Live presents Observations by Crazy D with my co-host, my sister Tanya M. Congress. Make sure you smash the friend button on Crazy Dion while we laugh, and Tanya M. Congress while we laugh. And then make sure you go over to Instagram and smash the Crazy D Film Dude and Tanya Congress, and make sure that you go over to the Film Review Life channel on YouTube, the Film Review Life channel on YouTube, and subscribe, like, share, let your people know, click the bell so you'll be notified when we come on with a hashtag TFR Podcast Live and a hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB. Make sure that you go over to Cash App, $ TFR Podcast Live, $ TFR Podcast Live. Smash a few dollars on there. Talk to us. Say you want to be a sponsor. Drop some on there, and we'll be talking to you and talking about your product, right? And don't forget, people, every time that we come on, you can call in and chime in and talk with us, right? And remember, you can hear all the replays on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and what's the last one? iHeartRadio on Lordlandfilms.com. All the portals are there. You just click and it takes you right there. This will be up in about an hour on the replay on your favorite podcast providers. So people, we are out. Another great episode. Thank you, Tracy Latrice. She said great show. And
thank you, Tracy.
We will see you tomorrow on hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe. Community, heart. Crazy.